The Saints have made multiple roster moves over the last 24 hours, so in today's video, I'm going to tell you what exactly they did. They cut a quarterback. We have to go through the latest on Derek Carr. But before we get to that, I want to give you an update on our April sub battle. We're winning over the year of 2025. But Falcons today, they might sneak away with the win here in April. So let's bury them. We got to get back on top. Subscribe today. Saints news, rumors, daily videos, live shows, short form content, everything you need right here on Saints Now. Subscribe and let's beat Falcons today in our April sub battle. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. We talked about a quarterback being cut. It's not Derek Carr. It is Ben DiNucci. He was recently cut by the New Orleans Saints. And then Chris Rumph II. He's a defensive end who has been recently signed. DiNucci is the most recent of the two roster moves. And he's actually the one himself who announced it on X. He said the NFL is a tough business. Always has been, always will be. Always will be. Got released by the Saints this morning. Control what I can control and get back to work. And, shout out to Ben DiNucci for keeping a positive mindset on this. Best of luck to him. Hope he has great success in his future endeavors. But, this is not a surprising move whatsoever. This is something that you should have seen coming. And to be totally honest, the best case scenario for Ben DiNucci was he was going to be a practice squad quarterback and then potentially maybe see some games action if there was maybe potentially some injuries down the stretch of the season, but it just was never going to happen. I mean, you drafted Tyler Shough in round 2 of the 2025 NFL draft, 40th overall, but you also drafted Spencer Rattler last year, number 150 overall, and in the year prior, you drafted Jake Haener. So 3 consecutive years where the New Orleans Saints have invested draft capital into the quarterback position, but the starting quarterback right now is going to be Derek Carr. We don't know what the situation is with the injuries, but you also have Hunter Deckers invited to minicamp, so maybe he's the player who will ultimately take over as the practice squad quarterback. But let's take an updated look at the Derek Carr situation. He did confirm while preaching at a church in Las Vegas that he actually does have a shoulder injury. He said he has the MRIs to prove it and all that good stuff. And, there was a lot of critics. There was a lot of speculation. There was a lot of discussion as to whether or not he was lying or he was, maybe extending the truth a little bit. And, well, yeah, whatever, this, that, and the other. But long story short, he pushed back on the critics. He had some words to say about him. He said that not a lot of people should have an opinion right now, and this is a time when people shouldn't. He also said that he's been in constant communication with the New Orleans Saints, and so they are aware of the situation, which is, relieving to know. And Mickey Loomis, after the 2025 NFL draft, he did say that, Derek Carr is the starter. If all things are good, all things work out, everything is happy, Derek Carr's a starter. But if he goes and gets surgery and he has to miss a season, Derek Carr will not be obviously the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. But the plan is, if he's good to go, he will be QB1. Now, here's what Derek Carr did say during his sermon. I have an MRI report to prove it, talking about his shoulder injury. The team knows about it. We've been in constant communication. There's nothing wrong. We're figuring it out, and we're going to go forward with that. So, I will say in regards to that side of things, it is pretty relieving. And I will say we've seen a lot of clips and we've seen a lot of photos from the New Orleans Saints posting a lot of content around offseason activities and whatnot, a lot of workouts going on, and Derek Carr has just not been present in any of them, and he hasn't been present at team facilities whatsoever since the offseason programs have begun. He did actually say that his wife and him, Heather, they were planning on flying to New Orleans earlier in the offseason, but due to some unforeseen and some really, really unfortunate circumstances, Heather Carr, she experienced some health issues, and they actually had a miscarriage, and I don't want to talk too much about that, but that's just horrible. Any family deserves, peace. They deserve the ability to heal. They deserve the time to decompress and absorb and work through that as a family. So, in regards to that whole situation, nothing but prayers, nothing but good vibes to the Carr family. I personally know family and family friends who have dealt with similar things, and it's not easy to get through. That all being said, it is kind of nice to see that Carr is being in communication with the Saints. Mickey Loomis has not really said much about what's the plan moving forward outside of if Carr's healthy, he will be the quarterback. He isn't giving many updates. He hasn't really talked a lot about it. He's not answering questions when media is asking him about it. But, when it comes to the situation moving forward, I do believe Derek Carr could still be in play for potentially being the Saints quarterback one this upcoming season. But Tyler Shough, he was the 40th overall pick for a selection. They believe in him, and they believe that he is ready to start, and he's capable of starting pretty much immediately. So, when you take into consideration the entire situation around the quarterback room, you lost Ben DiNucci, you add Tyler Shough, and then you have this whole Derek Carr situation, Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener. How confident are you? How confident are you in the Saints quarterback room? Because for me personally, it's not that I'm not confident. It's that I do have more confidence than I did last year because of Kellen Moore and because of this offensive coaching staff. I would like to see a little bit more help on the offense in terms of offensive weapons, especially in the wide receiver department. But, on a scale of 1 to 100, I'll go 65. 70, maybe it's 70. We'll say 69 just for the sake of it. We'll say 69 for the sake of it. How does that sound? But I want to get your thoughts and your opinions in the comments section. This is Chat Sports, not Trizzy Sports. I want to hear from you. This is a two-way conversation. And while you're down in the comment section, you'll find the link available to Saints jerseys from Fanatics. Just go to chatsports.com/Saints jerseys, or just click the link that is in the comments and description of this video. You can get any player, home, away, throwback jersey, a color rush jersey. You want to get a rookie? We got Kelvin Banks jerseys. We're soon to have Tyler Shough. We're soon to have Devin Neal. We're soon to have Danny Stutzman. Any of the other players that you may be interested in. But Rashid, the need for speed, Shaheed, and my guy, number 12, Chris Olave. We also got jerseys available for them. Men's, women's, children's sizes, whatever you want. Chatsports.com/Saints jerseys. Click the link. Get yourself swagged out today. Let's talk about the other roster move here. Chris Rumph II. He was recently signed to the New Orleans Saints. It was actually yesterday evening or yesterday late afternoon. And he does have familiarity and ties to New Orleans because he was actually drafted in Brandon Staley's first year as the Chargers head coach back in 2021 in the 4th round. He is currently 26 years old, and he's played for Brandon Staley before, so I do believe he's going to have the ability to help, install the new defense with this roster. And he's dealt with foot injuries over the last couple of seasons. For what it's worth, he's not played it in a game since 2023. And in that season, he only played in 6 games. So it's an uphill battle, but he will be competing for a roster spot. I don't expect him to make the roster, but maybe he's a high-level practice squad guy, and he ends up being a part of the rotation just due to some injuries and whatnot. But Chris Rumph, I do think his role for this offseason and for OTAs and minicamp will be specifically to help install Brandon Staley's defense, especially during the training camp portion of the offseason or of the preseason, if you will. I just don't see him having a huge role. He hasn't really ever been super duper productive. Drafted in the 4th round. He has decent size at 6'2", 244 pounds, but it's just more of a familiarity play, in my opinion. 5 tackles in 2023. Like I said, he only played in 6 games, and he hasn't played since 2023. But, for what it's worth, this isn't the only former Charger that Brandon Staley has signed. I think Chris Rumph will have a big role in helping install Staley's defense, but I also think Jonah Williams will as well because he, too, has some ties to the Saints defensive coordinator and Brandon Staley. He actually signed back in March, but I think when it comes down to Rumph and Williams, those are going to be the 2 guys that I really expect to take over as veteran leadership in helping install the defense. It's not really going to be a production play. And maybe he does actually end up getting some run, but when you look at the front 5 for the New Orleans Saints, you have some bodies. You have guys that you can work with. I really like Carl Granderson and Chase Young. I still think Cam Jordan's got some left in the tank. Brian Bresee, I should say. I'm a big fan of Brian Bresee. I think he's going to be phenomenal in year 3. And I'm also really excited to see all of these cats work with Bo Davis and work in a new defensive scheme, in a more modern defense, in a more modern look, and in a more modern approach. I'm really excited to see this new defense. I think that there's a lot of good things going for it. And although there isn't a ton of big superstar talent like the Marshawn Lattimores because you traded him away, and the big names that you do have on the roster are older veterans, I still think that they have something to prove. I still think they have something left in the tank. And ultimately, just based off the new coaching staff and based off of the new scheme and the new approach to the defense, I'm excited. I'm just excited for that in entirely just the new defense. I'm excited for the new draft picks, excited for the new free agency additions. I'm especially excited to watch Justin Reed. I mean, call me crazy. That one's going to be a lot of fun. The homecoming, he's a really good safety. It's going to be fun to see him and Tyrann Mathieu line up together again. And for what it's worth, my favorite rookie draft pick, Danny Stutzman. Cannot wait to see that guy bring the boom on Sundays in the Dome. Now, if you want the Saints defense to absolutely dominate in 2025, I need you to like this video. Last year, we started off hot. Don't get me wrong. We were terrible against the run, against the pass. We need to be better. So do not jinx it. Let's go, baby. Hit the thumbs up icon and like this video. Saints fans, thank you so much for tuning into today's content. We'll have another video coming at you later on today. I hope you guys subscribe and turn on your notifications. Be sure to hit your boy up on social media. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time.